Imagine a woman so beautiful, so perfect, that her image was adored by everyone, but this same woman would become one of the most feared figures in mythology. Medusa, a young woman who once shone with the light of her beauty, was cruelly transformed into a monster, exiled, condemned to live in solitude and contempt. But who was the real monster in this story? The answer lies not in Medusa's transformation, but in the brutal act that set everything in motion, an act that changed the fate of an innocent young woman, and that makes us question how far can the abuse of power go, and who pays the price for violence. If you feel moved by this story or have reflected on the injustices we see in our society, share this video so that more people can know this narrative and think about the impact of the choices we make. Medusa was a devoted priestess of Athena's temple, the goddess of wisdom. She was adored for her beauty and purity, a symbol of grace and reverence. However, this beauty was something uncommon, something almost supernatural. Her golden hair shone like rays of the sun, and her eyes exuded a sweetness that captivated anyone who looked into them. It was impossible to resist her presence, and this awakened desire in men and even gods. But Medusa did not seek attention, and her commitment to Athena was total. She had taken a vow of chastity, dedicating herself to the service of the goddess and rejecting any type of affection or carnal desire. However, Poseidon, the god of the sea, was a being of immense power and uncontrollable desire. He saw in Medusa the representation of perfect beauty, something that no mortal or god could possess without effort. What he saw in her was not only her stunning appearance, but what she symbolized: purity, youth, vitality. Poseidon, known for his impulsive and violent nature, could not contain himself. He desired Medusa, and an impulse of power and possession approached Athena's temple. Medusa, who was praying, did not even have time to react. Poseidon surprised her inside the sacred temple, a place consecrated to Athena, where Medusa was supposed to be in complete devotion. In this space of purity and devotion, Poseidon used his strength to violate the young woman. The act was not only a physical violation, but also an aggression against the temple itself, a direct affront to the goddess Athena. Poseidon's desire was not only for Medusa's beauty but also for what she represented, something pure and untouchable. He desired her because she was inaccessible, and he knew he could take her by force, as a god who was above everything and everyone. It was as if by taking Medusa, he was asserting his absolute dominance over humans, and even over the gods themselves. This act of abuse was not just a crime against Medusa, but against the divine order itself. What Poseidon did by invading Athena's temple and abusing Medusa was in essence a violation of the sanctity of that space and in dishonor to the goddess. Poseidon saw Medusa as an object to be possessed, without caring for her life and feelings. To him it was just another conquest, a trophy for his collection of desires. Medusa, however, was not responsible for this desire. She had not provoked Poseidon's anger or desire. She was the victim, but cruel fate made her pay the highest price for it. But the punishment that followed was not for Poseidon. No, what happened was even more cruel. Athena, in an act of vengeance, did not punish the god of the sea but the victim. Medusa, who had already suffered at Poseidon's hands, was now transformed into a monster. Her hair, once golden like the sun, was transformed into serpents, alive and venomous. The gaze that once enchanted everyone became lethal, turning those who dared to cross her path into stone. Athena, in her fury, did not see Medusa as a victim but condemned her to even greater suffering, solitude and exile. Now she was banished from the world, condemned to live alone on a deserted island, away from everything and everyone, with the curse that made her more feared than human. But Medusa's transformation was not just physical. The loss of her beauty, which made her unique, was the loss of her humanity. The pain was not just in her monstrous appearance, but in the solitude imposed upon her. The world, which once admired her, now feared her. Medusa was not only transformed into a monster, but found herself forced to live as one. No one dared to look at her. No one approached. The victim was thrown into solitude, with no compassion, no redemption. Medusa, once full of life and hope, was transformed into a being lost in the abyss of pain and oblivion. Her suffering was not only physical but psychological. She was punished for something that was not her fault, but the fault of a god who took advantage of her fragility. If you felt moved by this story of Medusa, share it with others and allow more people to reflect on the true victims in stories of abuse. It is important that we remember that not always appearances or the way the story is told reflect the complete truth. Leave your opinion in the comments below about what this story represents to you and how you think we can learn from it to prevent tragedies like Medusa's from repeating.